Hey guys, welcome to the Retro Media Talk podcast. Today we're going to wrap up the vintage technology series with part 2 here. Today we have Steve Lago back from his concert fest, Mike Gallas, and myself, Steve Montgomery. So but before we get started, if you listen to this podcast and you tell me you listen to it, I will give whoever a shout out. And I'm giving Kevin Lynch, thanks for the coffee, by the way, a shout out for listening to the Retro Media Talk podcast. Thanks for the support, Kevin, and thanks for that coffee. But I'm going to get you back next time. All right, guys, so let's get started. So you remember, Mike, we went all the way to what?
We made it to the mid-90s.
But we forgot the Sega Dreamcast. At one point, we did forget that. Did you have that one, Lago?
I did. I just sold it at a garage sale 2 summers ago. I kicked myself.
I did not have that, so
I missed that one.
We might as well let Lego take this one.
Go ahead, tell us what you had and what if you want to revert back to a bad memory.
No, I mean the Dreamcast. It was cutting edge. It was the graphics were way better than the PlayStation. But what killed them is that they didn't have a very good game library.
Yeah.
The big games on there for me were the Resident Evil Code Veronica and Shenmue.
Shenmue. I had that one too.
And that was a killer game. That was a groundbreaking game. The whole thing about what was cool about it is that system was hackable with a boot disc.
Oh, really?
And then you could basically play any Dreamcast game for free.
Really?
With this boot disc. Yeah. It was called the Utopia boot disc. You could download it. You put the disc in, and then a screen would come up, and then it would tell you to go ahead and take that disc out, and then put your bootlegged disc in, and then you could play it.
Oh man, yeah, that's funny. I didn't even know you could do that. Yeah, I didn't know because I don't even remember when I got rid of the Dreamcast. I think I got rid of it probably to buy the PlayStation, but I
PlayStation 2 probably, right?
Yeah, maybe that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, because the Dreamcast was good, but it didn't have a good game library, and it had that stupid Tamagotchi thing that was the save module that slid into the controller.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that was kind of goofy, and you could never read it because it wasn't like backlit. But it was a cool system. It was, but they just didn't have any support for it, and I had like 2 or 3 games I really enjoyed on there, but other than that, I mean, Sony had way more games to choose from, so it just died. Because I'd gotten a disc off of eBay for the Dreamcast, and literally it had every like Nintendo game on it, and then I had another disc that had every Genesis game on it, and I had another disc that had like every it had every Atari, and I had a disc that had like all the lame games, like the Atari or the arcade games. MAME, yeah.
If you can find something and get those MAME games going, oh my gosh, those games are so fun to play.
Yeah, there's an emulator.
Yeah, you can do an emulator. You can also use the NES Classic, the Genesis, the Mini Genesis, and I think the PlayStation Mini also. But they're really hard to configure. You got to really know what you're doing.
It's too much work for me.
Yeah, I'm pretty stupid when it comes to that.
I got the Simpsons game, the Simpsons arcade game going. That one worked. I got the original Outrun, and those are so much better. I mean, it's just like being at the arcade. It's really cool.
Yeah, the only arcade game that I ever really wanted to own is the Tron one with the light cycles.
Oh yeah, I love Tron.
That would have been my ultimate game to own was the Tron one.
Yeah. But here's the other cool thing is they have cabinets now that you can buy.
Yeah.
They come loaded with, a bunch of different games, but I think it's called At Games.
Yeah, they sell them at Walmart, yeah.
Yeah. But if you get the cabinet,
Good, Lego's got some breathing going on here.
You can.
Yeah.
Hey, I was sick earlier.
I'm just telling you because you don't like to hear it, but
If you have the right files, if you can find them, you can load those into those arcade cabinets, and then that just you could, depending on how much storage you have,
Yeah.
you could play just about almost any game you want.
And when you mean find, there's the quotes, right? That just you find them, right?
Yeah, you can't technically tell anybody, where to go. You just kind of got to look around for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that I had the Dreamcast, and it was a cool system for a very, very short time. I mean,
now, did you have anything before the Dreamcast, or was that the first thing?
No, I had I had the original PlayStation, and
okay.
And then of course, like I said, when the Dreamcast came out, I think Dreamcast and PlayStation 2 were right around the same time.
Yeah, supposedly the information I was looking up, Dreamcast came out. It said 98. I would think that would be a little early because PlayStation came out 2000, so it could have been
the original PlayStation,
right around there. No, PlayStation 2 came out in 2000.
Well, yeah, I think Dreamcast did come out earlier, but I don't think it got to the U.S. until a little bit later.
So it probably would have been the same time that PlayStation 2 came out.
And at that time, I worked at a video store, so I mean, I had the pickings of first picks of everything.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Yeah. You guys last week were talking about Atari.
Yeah.
And do you know that there's a company now that is remanufacturing like some of the classic Atari games with the packaging and stuff like that, and it's crazy.
What do you mean?
Is it like a retro release or something?
Is it like it's different than what they already had released?
No. It's like literally the original game. But it's like in a special like collector's box, but it's a working cartridge, but they're like $100.
What?
And people buy them. They just re-released Yar's Revenge. I think it was $100.
What? It's just one game?
Yeah, it's just a remanufactured, like newly manufactured Atari cartridge.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, look it up sometime. It's pretty interesting. There's a few little perks you get with it, but I don't know why people would buy them. But
yeah, can you save the game nowadays?
I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
That was my biggest frustration with all those games back then. Couldn't save them. Do you remember the first, because me and Gallas were talking about the first CD we bought. What was the first CD you remember buying?
I was working at the time, and I saved up some money, and I went to, I forget I don't know if it was Kmart, whatever my store was in town, and that's where I got my CD player. The old school, like the CD player was like that big. It was like as big as a VCR, damn near.
Oh yeah, I see them all the time in Goodwill. People are getting rid of them.
And so at Kmart, they didn't have a very big CD collection at the time. So the coolest thing they had for me to get to play on my CD player was I got Europe Out of This World.
Yeah, great album. Did you have a big like vinyl collection too?
No, I had a huge cassette collection.
Oh yeah.
I didn't have really any. I had a handful of vinyl.
Okay.
Handful.
Yeah,
a lot of 45s because I used to buy those when I was younger. I had a paper route, and I would go and get a couple 45s with my money. And
do you guys remember how much were they? They were $1 or less?
They're like $1.50, maybe, something like that. $1.49, $1.19, something crazy like that. I still have a few of them. I found them in a tote. I've got the Greatest American Hero 45, way. Yeah, and I got the Goonies on 45. By Cyndi Lauper, and I've got Huey Lewis in the News.
Power of Love?
Power of Love.
Yeah.
On Chrysalis Records, yeah. And I have David Lee Roth and a couple other regular LPs and stuff. But I didn't have a big collection. And back then, I was starting to be out and about, and then you start driving a car, so you're wanting to have more portable music.
Right. What I used to do, I used to buy the album, then and then record it onto cassette so I could take it and then it wouldn't get warped and all that stuff, Well, it would get warped, but, I could always make another copy. That's why I bought vinyl. So I could just, record it on cassette and have a backup. Because, dude, and then you got to worry about your machine eating tapes, too.
Yeah.
Because that happened to me a lot. Nothing worse than when you
pull out the
cassette from your car deck and you got a whole foot of tape stuck in there, and then you got to fish it out.
And what's bad is sometimes you couldn't fish it out and you had to break the tape
to
get it out.
God, that's so depressing.
Did you ever do the trick by taking a pencil and putting it in the wheel, and that was the easiest way to rewind a tape manually? Mm-hmm. And then a video cassette has a hole. If you turn it over the VHS, in the middle there's a hole, and you press that hole down, and then you can turn the wheels on it.
Right.
Okay, so did you ever have a video? Well, you had a VHS, right?
Yeah.
Did you have your own personal VHS player, or was it a family thing, or?
Yeah, it was a family one. I never wanted to drop that kind of coin, because back then they weren't cheap. Even when other like off-brand companies would make them, they still weren't cheap.
No.
Mine was a Montgomery Ward's.
My dad, when he first bought his, I think it was over $800, $900.
His first VCR?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what he told me, yeah. Maybe $1,000. It was expensive, Dude, do you guys remember, though? We didn't talk much about the VHS, but do you guys remember how expensive VHS were? Movies when they first came out?
They were like $60-$80.
Oh yeah, over $100 a lot of times. But yeah, they would. I remember we used to go into the record store, and in the beginning they had them locked up in a glass case. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times they'd be $99 and then $89, like you said, $80, $79, but. When they first came out, some of them were over $100, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, paying that much for one movie.
And that's why, like, there became a whole market, if you remember, of you could go to some of these stores and they'd have super cheap VHS because it would be like all those old public domain movies.
Yeah.
So you could get them for like $10 a piece or, whatever. So we had a ton of those, but... hardly ever we would buy. I don't think we ever bought a movie. We just rent them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the thing with that around this area. I mean, we must have had. What do you think, Mike? Like 15, 20 rental stores?
Oh yeah, more than that.
Probably more than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because they really had to pay big bucks
to get that new release.
Yeah, and they would only have like 4 or 5 copies some of these places,
Yep.
And
but they'd make their money quick.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, but I remember back when I had a birthday party and we rented all these horror movies, and my mom, I mean, I was at that. I think I was 16. Was that 16, Mike?
It was before 16.
It was before 16.
Yes.
So she actually.
You were at 14 or 15.
Okay, so they actually allowed me to watch a few rated R movies on my birthday. It was pretty cool. And one movie that will probably go over later is Evil Dead. Obviously,
right.
We'll talk about that in a whole episode. But that was one of the VHS movies that we watched, and basically I'm not going to tell the whole story because it'll drag on, but we watched it 2 times in a row because half the guys there, or more than half, closed their eyes through the whole dang thing, and we had to watch it all the way. We had to restart it and watch it all over again. But it was just awesome, man. I mean, we watched all those movies all night. We probably went to 6 different rental stores to find, these movies.
Oh, yeah. I remember going somewhere, you wanted that one movie, and it was always out.
Yeah.
And you would hit the next one, hoping that one would have it.
And some of those stores were cool, man, because they would carry more obscure stuff that other ones wouldn't, Mm-hmm. And that was kind of an adventure, like what you were going to walk into. Some of them, would carry a big display of Betamax, and like some would carry a smaller display of it, more VHS. It was like it was just different. Every store was different,
Well, that one store that was on Sheridan started out as strictly beta. It was called Betas to the Max. Mm-hmm. And then
you're right.
They only carried betas because that's where we rented from because we had a beta machine.
Yeah.
And then they changed it, and it was now Movies to the Max.
That's right. Yeah.
And they transferred over to VHS when beta folded.
I loved going into the video store. It was just it was just fun. And I don't know. I mean, yeah, everything's just so easy now, but there was something to the going out and going to the video store and trying to, look through all these copies and turn the cover over and read the description. There was just something about that. It was fun.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. And, that's all you really, had to go with was the video store because, even if you had, cable and you had HBO, you still didn't have that big a variety of movies that you have now.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
now it's just saturated. It is almost too much to watch. I'll spend an hour looking for something to watch sometimes, I'll just be
exactly.
It's like, what am I doing? I just wasted an hour trying to find something to watch. It was so much simpler back then.
So, Lego, did you know or did you have any experience with the laser disc?
I had a friend that had a laser disc, but and he had some pretty cool ones back in the day. But I like it. I thought it was like super cool. I would love to have one now just for because you can get them on eBay for like next to nothing.
Really?
It would be cool to have a player, but you probably to find a working one would probably be pretty difficult.
What was the quality like? Pretty good then?
Oh yeah. I mean it was head and shoulders above videotape.
Was it? Yeah. I love the packaging of it. It just looks like an album, but
yeah,
I love the thickness of it because it usually had 2 laser discs in it, right? That you had to put in.
Yeah,
I guess
some of them.
But they always. I mean, you open them up, man. It was just, oh man, the smell of the packaging. That, what do you call that? That printed type of cardboard. You know what I'm talking about?
I still remember my
I
favorite
love that
thing,
smell,
My favorite thing to do,
kind of like vinyl, basically. I mean,
yeah.
yes.
When I used to buy an NES cartridge, I still remember the smell of their manuals.
I know, man. Isn't that
They
weird?
smelled so good.
That's weird, like, the smell of a magazine or something like that. But, there was always something about the smell of a record, pulling it out of the sleeve, and you get that little wind coming.
That's what she said.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm weird, man. But I there's certain scents that I really like, like a new book or something. Like you just like, I don't know. There's something.
I used to love the smell of the books at the library at school. They had a smell to them.
Yeah. There's always. It's just weird, I don't know how we got on that.
You never forget, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, when we were, when we were talking. I got these photo books, from the, certain movies and stuff, and I can hold that up to my nose, flip the pages, and it just smells good.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I do remember books and certain things that, certain smells that did smell really good from the packaging, and that's probably what, led me to be a professional panty sniffer when I got older. I'm a mouth breather because of that.
Well, that's all right, man.
So,
that's all right.
Lego,
It's good ambience.
what was your first,
Yeah, it is. It is.
what was your first game console then?
It was the Atari.
Okay.
And actually, it wasn't the Atari. It was the Sears version. It was, it was the Sears Video Arcade. That's what it was
even
called.
Better.
Did you have
And-
Pong too?
Yes.
Yep.
I had the Pong console. Remember, it had like 3 games on it, if I remember correctly, and it was like the first game system that came out.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, there was one that was sold at Radio Shack, and
That's probably where we got it, because
Yeah.
my dad was a Radio Shack junkie back then.
Yeah. and I still have it. I just got to find it. But yeah, I just want to confirm that they did sell that at Radio Shack, but I didn't know if there was another type of game like that. There probably was, but
There probably was.
Yeah.
Made by
Hey, since
Magnavox or
we're-
something.
hey guys, this is Steve here, and I want you to try the best superfood on the market. Field of Greens, real organic superfood. Just use my special coupon code HEALTHYLIFE for ultimate savings. The benefits of Field of Greens contain antioxidants, boosts immunity, completely organic, supports healthy metabolism, and a natural source of vitamins and minerals. Try Field of Greens today with my special coupon code HEALTHYLIFE at checkout. Healthy Life.
Since we're talking technology, another piece of technology we have not touched on. Did you guys have any favorite little handheld gaming devices that were like not video games?
Yeah, remember those sports?
Yes.
Those sports games? I love those. The
Yes.
football with the little
Yeah.
dots.
Uh-huh.
I had the baseball game. I forget what it
Yes,
was.
I had both
Yep,
of those.
I had baseball, I had basketball. I had all 3 of those, but they were so fun, dude. You sit there
Yeah.
at night playing those games.
Yep. My brother had the basketball, and I never touched it. It was always football or baseball for me.
Yeah, I loved all 3 of those games.
Yeah,
Those
I
were
think
made
it was.
by Mattel.
Mattel, yep.
Yeah.
I had one that was called Head-to-Head Baseball, I think.
Okay.
And it was kind of shaped like a baseball diamond,
Mm-hmm.
but there was a space where you could put your fingers on each side. So one player, you had to sit next to somebody, but you put your fingers in this little box. You couldn't see what pitch you were throwing.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
And I used to whoop my dad's butt all the time in that game. But
Dude, those were awesome.
It was cool. And then I remember back in the mid '80s, I had this really cool handheld game. It was probably like 4 by 6 inches, and it was called Epoch Man. It was like a knockoff of Pac-Man, but it was sweet.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
It was LCD.
Oh,
So-
okay. Wow. Yeah. I had a lot of those
cool.
those handheld arcades. I mean, I had a lot of those little things. Those were fun.
They're kind of coming back.
You remember the very original one though? It was like the driving game. It had a little steering wheel, and
We had that.
it was just like a reel of the one. Yes,
Yeah.
Yes, like a little piece of tape or something.
yeah, and it would make
turn
crashing
the wheel.
noises if you hit it. Yeah,
Yeah, yep.
It's
funny.
still kind of cool.
Yeah, it was funny. I'm trying to remember all the games. Man, that's
and they had like was it Simon? Remember?
yeah, Simon
and
yep,
Merlin.
Did you have Teddy Ruxpin?
Yep. No,
Or
didn't.
how about a glowworm?
I love you, glowworm. Remember those commercials?
Never had that.
Yes.
I love you, glowworm.
Oh,
you know,
man.
when you think back about all this, like this kid technology,
Yeah.
a lot of it was just garbage, right? But the commercials they put out on Saturday morning
It's all marketing.
They made you want it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, when you think back to those days, man, it was all about commercials to get kids to buy crap. It was cereal, it was bubble gum, it was toys, and that's what was big in the 70s and 80s. And if you saw something on TV on Saturday morning, a toy, you were like instantly, I gotta have it.
Oh yeah, He-Man for me, dude.
Stretch Armstrong, all that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like, I gotta have it. I gotta have it.
Skeletor.
Yeah, I never got into He-Man for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, I liked the show, and I did get one figure. It was the Battle Armor He-Man, which I still own, by the way.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, but I was more into the cartoons than the actual action figures. I think at that time.
Yeah.
Until G.I. Joe hit the scene, then I had to have all the G.I. Joes.
Oh yeah.
Are you talking like the little G.I. Joes?
Yeah, the 3 1/4 or whatever.
Oh yeah, man. I had what's the guy? The white guy. He's actually a bad guy. The ninja.
Storm Shadow?
Yes. And then the other guy, Alpine something. I had the snow guys, because it was kind of around when Empire Strikes Back came out. It was all about Hoth. And so I remember getting a couple.
I had a Sears exclusive Cobra base, and that thing is going for like huge money now on eBay.
Oh man!
Oh wow!
It came with 3 exclusive figures, Cobra figures, and it was really dumb because it was just like a cardboard base, and it had like an elevator, and that was it. I mean, there was nothing else to it.
Wow!
But it was so cool at the time. But
I had a friend. His brother had the big, huge aircraft carrier.
Oh yeah, and it's same thing. If you get a hold of one of those on eBay, they're going for thousands.
I bet.
Hey, wasn't there another handheld system like Lynx or something wasn't
the Atari Lynx?
That's it.
I don't know when that came. I don't know when that came out, but
Google it up.
It wasn't very popular. I do know that.
Yeah, I never had one, but I remember that.
Did any of you guys have a Game Boy?
No.
Yes,
you know what?
I had a Game Boy. It was cool. I mean, for what it was, I ended up taking it to the pawn shop and getting a few bucks for it. I mean, the pawn shop is where I got literally all of my teenage CD collection. Why pay full price? And that's where I bought all of Steve's Christian metal CDs.
Exactly.
At the Pontiac pawn shop.
At the Pontiac pawn shop. I should tell that story. I should tell that story real quick.
It's a horrible story.
I would get these CDs. I'd be like, wow. And these things were in mint condition. Like they were unblemished. And I bought them all.
And then they had his initials in them.
Yeah, some of them did.
I never noticed. I'll have to go back and look. And if they do have your initials, Steve, I will return them to you because you're my friend.
No, it's all right. That's all right. But the reason I found out. Well, I'll tell you the story real quick because I don't want to bore anybody, but in the audience. But anyway, I had joined a band. It's called Night Train, and we thought we were gonna make it big going down to Florida. Well, I had this huge CD collection, and I had a boom box that was like, oh man, $500 at the time. Went to a pawn shop in Bloomington, Illinois. I might as well put that out there in case anybody else had a issue. And I traded all my CDs and this boom box in for as much money as I could get. Because we're going to go down to Florida. We're going to try to move down to Florida and try to hit it big and blah, blah, blah. So I traded all my CDs in. Okay. Well, the band decided to go a different direction when we got back, and we were going to go back to Florida. We were coming back to get we're going to get our equipment and move back and try to move back and find a place. We were living in hotels. And then we came back, and then they decided to go a different route, and I kept calling, blah, 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 when they were going to pick me up. Well, somehow there was a falling out. They decided to go down without me. And, oh, man, I was pissed, dude. I was pissed. You remember this story?
Yep.
Okay.
I do remember.
And I won't go into, big details, deep details, because we're all good now. We patched old wounds and all this stuff. But, basically, I gave up my job. I traded all my CDs, all this stuff to try to go down to Florida and all this stuff, and then it blew up in my face, and everybody moved down there without me. My mom felt real bad, and said, "Oh my God, I can't believe you," because I told her a story about all, everything I sold, and she felt bad, and she said, "Look, let's go down to Bloomington. I'm gonna buy back as much as I can afford of your CD collection." And we actually went. I don't know what the time period was. It was like a week, maybe 2 weeks. It wasn't long. And we drove down to Bloomington to buy back the CD collection and whatever else she could do.
Right.
So we get down to Bloomington to the pawn shop. It burnt down. And I was like freaked out. Well, the owner of the pawn shop also owned a he was owner of the pawn shop in Pontiac, where you found all my CDs. And I had talked to the owner on the phone. Oh yeah, there was a fire and everything burnt. I said, "What do you mean everything burnt?" "Everything burnt." "Well, are you sure everything's gone?" Whatever. They gave me this line that everything burnt. I think it was like, what do you think, Mike? Was it like maybe it wasn't a full year maybe, but it was close, maybe to 6 months, or I don't know. We went down there.
I think it was less than that.
Less than that, probably, yeah. We went to Pontiac. We went to that pawn shop, and I had found one of my I don't know if I found one or multiple CDs that were mine, and they had the initials in them. So that pawn shop freaking lied. They said everything burnt down. And I think it was an insurance scam. I think they transferred a bunch of stuff out of that pawn shop
probably
before they set fire to it, because once that burnt down, they had all this insurance money. They built this, it was like 3 times bigger pawn shop, with that insurance money.
But what could have happened though is that before it burned down, they could have sold a couple of your CDs. Somebody bought them, thought they sucked, and took them back to the Pontiac pawn shop.
Yeah, highly unlike.
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible, but not if you were buying a ton of them. Yeah, there were that many people trading them in. The only other thing I could think of is maybe they had
around some inventory.
Yeah, maybe they had too much inventory in CDs and just shipped it down there. Either way, I was pissed.
Right.
Because I told them the story, and they, they could have offered that information like, well, you know what? Some of your CDs could be at this pawn shop because we own that one. They didn't volunteer that information. So that's what really ticks me off, and I think it's a shady deal, what happened.
Well, I mean, that's their whole business is shady.
Right.
Transactions.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. So anyway, that's that story.
But I appreciate it, though. I mean, I got a ton of awesome CDs.
Hey, Mike knows how anal I am. Well, you knew how anal I was when we lived together. Me and Lago lived together for months, and freaking, I was anal.
That video, we're shooting a video, okay, and he freaks out. You can hear him in the background, okay. We're getting ready to shoot this scene. And he's like, "Hold on, man. I ain't doing nothing until I find my CD."
Which one was that?
That was the Dragon Sue video.
Hold on. Yeah. Everything stops.
Yep. It sure did.
Yeah. Well, I was anal back in grade school when I'd take my magazines, my Fangoria magazines into class, and people would want to look at them. I had them in that big duffel. No. I mean, you can't open it fully, You can't bend the pages. If I got somebody bending the pages or opening it too wide, I mean, I didn't have any creases on my books.
It totally sounds like somebody from, the 80s movie or that 8-bit Christmas, the kid that had the Nintendo that no one had.
Yep.
Oh, but you can't play. You can only just watch.
I watched a movie the other night where you can't touch the vinyl. You can't touch.
Yeah.
No, if you want something played, I'll get it for you. And that's exactly me, man. I mean, I was freaking.
Yeah,
anal.
I mean, I'm still that way too, and I'm still that way. I'm still that way, and I have a huge comic book collection, and I used to buy 2 copies of each comic.
Yeah.
One would go right in the bag and never be touched by human hands.
Yeah.
And the other one I would still lay on a table and just and flip the pages carefully.
Yeah.
And and I remember one day my girlfriend had come over, and I had just picked up my weekly dose of comic books, and I get out of the shower, and she's just sitting on the couch, like holding one of my comic books, thumbing through it.
Shoot.
Uh-oh.
I about punched her in her eye and threw her out the front door.
I know, dude. I mean that was the thing. When we lived together, dude, I didn't have to worry about you because you were respectful. You knew how anal I was about CDs and all that stuff. And Mike, same thing. I mean, I let him borrow some stuff, and I would never let anybody borrow anything. But I let him borrow my whole Heaven's Metal collection. Remember that?
That's right.
And I knew you'd take care of it.
And you, for the documentary project, you let me borrow those albums too.
Oh yeah, those, yep.
But did you let Cooch? The question is, when Cooch broke his ankle on the curb, did you let him borrow anything?
I don't remember him asking for anything.
He claims that he was all laid up. He had nothing to do, and you wouldn't let him borrow any books or probably those magazines. Really?
Well, that's probably true. I don't know. Hey guys, do you want the ultimate iodine supplement? How about liquid B12? How about liquid turmeric in a herbal cold pressed tincture, never heated? The ultimate in detoxification. Pure, powerful, and potent liquid formulas in a raw herbal extract. Totally organic. Use our special coupon code HEALTHYLIFE at checkout at globalhealingorganics.com. Use coupon code HEALTHYLIFE. But you know me, dude, and let's just be frank. You always had somebody you borrowed something. You let somebody. They begged you to borrow something, and you gave in. You gave in, and it never came back the same.
Yeah.
Or
we've all had that.
You've all had that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You remember back in the days in the youth group, I got my first video. One of my first videotapes was Mad Max. It was a Christmas gift. But I can't remember who I let borrow. I mean, was
it a GIF or a gift?
It was it was a gift. But it was my uncle that owned all the theaters. He had got me a gift, and it was a VHS, coveted Mad Max. I didn't even take the cellophane off the VHS. I left it on there to protect the cover. Dude, I don't know what went through my head, but this dude begged me and just let me borrow one day, let me watch. And I don't know what happened, man, but I got weak. And I said, all right, man, I guess you could do it, but I need it back tomorrow. Guess what happened?
Never got it back.
Never got it back. I went to his house. Dude, I wish you could remember, Mike, who that was, but I mean,
I don't remember.
Oh, man, pisses me off because
I got one better,
and he lost it. He said he lost it. He didn't lose. He stole it. Some church friend.
Oh well, this was a church friend too.
Yeah,
and I got one better. I actually filmed a hour movie. It was the only copy I had. And this person had to borrow it. I have never seen it since.
What?
And the thing that really ticks me off is the 2 people that were in that movie now are passed on.
Oh, no.
And I'll never see it again.
Was that the movie you guys did, the Terminator one?
No, this was just one we shot in the woods.
Oh, God.
But still, I mean, I put a lot of work into that.
Yeah, well, yeah. Only copy.
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks. I lent somebody. I don't remember. Remember, you would in school, they would have like the Scholastic Book Club, and you get the little magazine.
Oh, heck yeah!
Yeah, I love those.
Book fairs?
I had ordered the Star Wars movie book. It was the picture movie book.
Yes, I still have one.
I loved it. I loved that book. And same thing. You know, I took care of it. I mean, it was in great shape. And I remember this kid. He's like, can I just take it home and read it? And I got it home. Of course, there was creases in the spine. But here's the worst part. There was like boogers all inside of it, dude.
Oh, my God.
He had boogers on like a lot of the pages.
You got to be kidding me. Oh, man.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That is sick.
Yes. Yeah, he gave me back a booger book.
What?
The booger book.
Oh, my God. These people, man.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
And that's the same kid that when we went to summer camp, I'm unloading my clothes. We got home, and I'm unloading my clothes, and I'm in the laundry room. My mom's going through them, and she finds, because this kid was like super tiny. He was like a little midget.
Yeah.
And she's going through the clothes, and she holds up this little tiny pair of underwear, and she.
What, underoos?
They're just like a little pair of whitey tighties, so they were tiny.
Probably got
And
stains.
She's like, whose underwear are these? And I said, oh, that's Nikki. And there was like a big, there was like a big, huge Milky Way melted in there.
Oh,
It was like a
my
huge
God.
chocolatey skid mark. Yeah.
God.
So not only was he a booger picker on my book, but he like shit his pants too at camp.
Oh, man. That's embarrassing. Gosh.
His name was Dickie.
No, Nikki.
Oh, Nicky.
Oh, jeez.
But then the next, when I saw him at school, like on Monday, I was like, man, I found a pair of your underwear in my thing. And they had like a big turd smear in there, And he's like, they weren't my underwear. And I'm like, dude, they were
They were my underwear.
I said they would fit on a baby doll, so they were yours. You know what I mean? But he denied it. He denied that those were his underwears with a big shit stain in them.
Oh, man.
I mean, it was like it was like somebody took a spoon of Nutella and just smeared it. That's how thick it was. It wasn't just like a scuff. It wasn't a scuff. It was like a full on.
That was a big
sludge.
shard.
Yeah.
Sharded. Oh, God.
Almost like he was a baby that just laid in his loaf all night.
And it was in your backpack? Or
It was like my duffel bag that I brought to camp
God,
or
it
whatever.
had to stink.
Well, we all stunk. We didn't barely take baths for
Man.
camp. You know what I mean?
I know, but your duffel bag must have smelled like shit.
Yeah. You know what's funny though is that my book kind of smelled like shit, and that was way before the summer camp was in.
Oh, man. He probably had shit on his hands thumbing through the pages, too.
Yeah,
Man.
probably.
Gosh. That's
Oh, my
nuts.
God.
What about video? Did your parents have a video camera, Lago, growing up at all? Or
I'm trying to think.
8mm film.
anything, slides, whatever?
No, I don't think we
whatever.
did.
Yeah.
Not until the price went down. Then I think they got one later in the 90s, like
Well, my
late 90s maybe.
I think when did my dad get his?
Your dad had
What?
his
What happened?
around 86,
86,
85.
85 or 86.
Yeah,
he
because
paid like $2,000 maybe for it. I don't know. It
He
was expensive.
filmed our 8th grade graduation.
That's right. And then when did this is the funny thing. So Mike's first camera he actually bought from my dad.
Yeah.
But what year was that?
That was December of 89.
89. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. So he had a nice camera. I mean, what was it, a Sony or what
No,
was
it was an RCA.
Oh, RCA, that's right.
Full size VHS. I had it for about almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And then actually I sold it, I think, to Jamie Markley.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. And then what?
Then
You
I
got
got
a Sony,
Sony.
right?
I got a Sony 8mm because I went to youth camp and there was a guy that had one, and I was like really impressed with it. I was like, I got to get one.
Yeah, that's a good camera. Because we were talking about, I go to all these, thrift shops and Goodwills, whatever. I did not remember a video camera that recorded right to disc. I know Gallas said he remembers, but I did not remember it.
No, I don't either.
Yeah,
They're
that
like
was
little
it was
DVDs.
the late 90s.
That's weird. So I found one, not I don't know, about a few weeks ago, whatever, and I bought it. It was like $5, but I plugged it in and it worked. I was like, well, $5. I don't know, nostalgia. They had a bunch of little blank DVDs in there. But they're like mini DVDs.
Yeah.
I did not remember that camera being released.
Can you overwrite them?
Yeah, they're rewritables too. It was weird. But I don't know. I ended up getting it. It was $5.
It's probably built off of MPEG-2 compression.
So the first video camera basically was VHS. Besides
They had the Super 8, but that was
They
back,
had the
what, in the
big
60s?
Super 8. Yeah.
They had the Betamax, and they had the over-the-shoulder strap that had the big, recorder unit. You had to carry that around.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when did Super 8 come out?
Super 8, you mean videotape or Super 8 film?
Film.
Yeah.
Right.
Film? Oh, that would have been, in the 70s or 60s, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what did the guys that did Blair Witch, what did they use? Did they use VHS or did they use just a regular camera?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
never
either.
saw it.
Well, I didn't. I saw it, but it was hokey and nothing. It was stupid. I mean, it was all marketing. Like Lago said about marketing, the video.
I thought it was
games.
pretty cool.
But they marketed it so well that you thought you were watching a real story. But
that was the first found footage movie ever.
Right.
Yeah.
But nothing really happened. You kept waiting for something to happen, and the best you got was some snot running out of that girl's nose.
Well, remember they found like those teeth. They found like those teeth in a leaf or something. Remember, and crazy stuff like that. And then they'd have like the little wooden statues that would come out of their tent and they'd be hanging.
Yeah, and then like the girl that was supposedly killed in the movie or whatever. Whatever.
Uh-huh.
She shows up in a fast food commercial. Did you see that?
No.
He was like in some, I don't know if it was Hardee's or McDonald's or something. So anyway, they had that thing going on for a while. Like, oh man, this is freaky, man. It's real, and they had.
It was all crap.
Yeah, but they filmed it with a real crappy camera, and I wanted to know. But see, there's something about those crappy cameras that kind of amp the realism,
Yeah, I mean, if you remember, I mean, they were shooting with the camera because that guy would have the camera, and he would turn it around and whatever. So they filmed it with probably like I want to say it was almost like a VHC.
It said it was they used high 8 video cameras.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
High 8?
Yep.
Huh. That movie, I'll give it to them, man. With that marketing and everything they did, they made a ton of money off that thing.
Well, yeah. What kind of budget did they have? They had none.
I
It
know.
was 200 to 500,000.
And what'd they make?
I
Crazy.
didn't look at it.
Oh, yeah. It was one of the most.
Overhyped?
Well, I mean, it made more money than a lot of.
Mainstream movies.
Yeah. It was one of the top independent films, I think. I think it was independent. Pretty sure.
Yeah. I saw a couple good movies that kind of replicated that. There was one was about Bigfoot, and another one was about these guys out in the desert. They were UFO watching and stuff like that. It was pretty cool.
Okay. Oh, here it says about 20 hours of the footage was shot, which was edited down to 82 minutes, shot on original budget of 35 to 60,000. The film had a final cost of 200 to 750,000 after the post-production edits. But it grossed at the box office 248.6 million. So they made a lot of money on that one.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then they rolled out Blair Witch 2, and it was completely horrible.
Oh yeah. Terrible. Did you have a Walkman, Lago?
Oh yeah. That was great. I mean, that was groundbreaking. You know what I mean? To be able to carry
Make your
music
own
around,
mixtapes and
Oh yeah.
listen to it privately. And even with those crappy headphones, in my mind, I'm like, wow. I mean, the stereo effects on these headphones are amazing.
Oh man, I mean, it was so nice to be able to mow the grass or do whatever and have music.
Wrestling practice.
Yeah, wrestling. You'd always put out your Walkman, man, when you're right before a match and get pumped up with whatever song you had. You always had your playlist for, sports to pump you up or whatever.
I would think the piece of technology that always failed the most was probably the Discman that you had in your car.
Oh, that skipped all the time.
Yes. So annoying.
I forgot about the Discman.
Oh.
Yeah. You had to keep it right, man. The best place I had it was, probably the seat was the least, you had that one Discman where, they started releasing the ones where it had the skip technology.
Oh,
It
still skipped.
Yeah. You hit that, you hit a pothole or whatever, and it was always skipping.
Yeah, but eventually they came out with like ones that were specific for cars, though. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah.
Yeah. And then remember back in, for cars, too, they had the CD changer you would keep in your trunk.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I never had one of those, but
me neither.
But yeah, I mean, there was nothing like popping in a CD in your car, man. Once you got the, because did you guys all have the tape that you put in your tape deck and then it hooked up to your CD player? Yeah.
I think everybody had that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
that was
cars
the cheapest way.
They didn't really have auxiliary ports until a certain year. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and CD player like stereos were too expensive at the time.
Well, even that too. When you first got like the first couple models or whatever, they still skipped.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And that would scratch your disc.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Did it?
I know I had a ton of discs that I used to play in the car all the time.
Really?
They're scratched up.
Oh man.
I think a lot of it's from like an actual disc player or the Discman.
The actual disc is scratched.
But what kind of from the car,
from a
CD
car CD player?
Because I think as that foam in the slot sometimes I think would get like dusty, and I think that would scratch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember the Walkman was seemingly more reliable than the Discman was. It seemed like the Discman, the batteries just wore out really quick.
Yeah,
they did, because I always had mine on top volume anyway.
Yeah, and the hyper bass.
Yeah, hyper bass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was always switching batteries out. It never skipped.
No, and it worked way better than the Discman.
I know.
Way better.
I remember jogging. I used to jog at night a lot of times, and man, whenever I tried to jog with a Discman, it was almost impossible.
Oh, yeah.
It was horrible. And when the mini disc came out, it was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can freaking swing my arms and run and not one skip. It's awesome.
Then what was your first MP3 player then?
When did the MP3s come out?
It was the late 90s.
Oh, shoot. We didn't even cover the MP3s?
No.
Oh, jeez.
I know. I remember seeing people wearing them, on their wrist or their arms.
Well, my first MP3 player, you actually had the first MP3 player that I ever saw. That was the iPod.
Oh, I had one before. I had one before the iPod.
Oh, you did?
I don't. It only held like, gosh, I want to say maybe barely 100 meg.
Oh yeah. They were small. Those first ones that came out.
I was unimpressed with. I can't even remember what I had, but yeah, when I got the iPod, oh man, that was a game changer right there.
I had a Sans Fuse, I think. Which was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, you know what? There was a couple off brands.
Yeah, there was one that started with
really
a Z.
Good. Oh yeah.
Zebekiah?
No.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't
Yeah, I don't
Zune.
remember the name.
Was it Zune?
Zune. That's it.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
And then, and then they had other ones. But yeah,
At one time I had gotten an iPod Shuffle, and it was a piece of garbage.
Yeah,
and,
I did too. Yeah,
yeah,
that sucked because you didn't know what was playing.
All right.
Oh yeah, the Nano. Yeah,
the Nano, the Shuffle. Yeah, those they couldn't. You couldn't hold anything on there.
The only good thing about those is they're easier to fit in your pocket.
Yeah,
and they didn't obstruct much. Now when I have a phone or something like that, it's just like big and bulky. I kind of miss those old little MP3s. They're just simple, they're just they're tiny, but the my favorite MP3 was the video one that you had. Little video one that was like my favorite. But the problem is now I can't even look at that screen, it's so small.
Yeah, and I don't know how I did it, but I watched the entire series of Battlestar Galactica on that little screen.
Yeah, and what did we watch when we were waiting in line for the dang Nintendo? What was it, the Wii? We waited all night in 10-degree weather or whatever it was. It was so dang cold, and you had your car pulled up.
Yep.
And that we got in there with your little video pod and watched a movie or something, or watched something. I don't know.
On that little screen.
I don't know how we did it. And then when the iPod Touch came out, I thought that screen, this screen is big, man. It's awesome. I can't even look at that screen now. I still got one of my iPod Touches. and it's a small screen now,
But yeah, the mini disc, when it came to the mini disc, that was really cool piece of technology. That's probably got to be one of my favorites.
Yeah. Did you ever get the mini disc
player?
No, I wanted one though.
Yeah, it was good.
That portable player was just it was like the coolest thing.
Well, it's just like what back in the day, a 13-inch TV was a good screen.
Yeah, hey, you guys remember going all the way back?
She probably did like that 13-inch.
Going all the way back, a lot of kids, if anybody's listening to this, you would probably not remember Don't Touch That Dial.
That show?
No, you know what I'm talking about, right? The dial on the TV. You had had to actually turn.
Oh, yeah, okay. I thought you were talking about some show because I was like, no, I never watched it.
No, there was a guy I used to work with in news, and on Friday nights, they would do news, and then the last 10 minutes was sports. Yeah. And they would go to break, and he would do it every single time. He'd be don't touch that dial.
Yeah, because we all had dials.
Yeah, no one knows what he's talking about.
No. Yeah, because, your first TV was a dial.
Yeah.
You had you had
VHF, and then
VHF and UHF. Yeah.
I loved UHF. I loved it because no.
Yeah, Weird Al Yankovic.
Because when I got my first TV, I was probably in my own TV. I was probably in junior high, maybe elementary school, and I would wait, because at nighttime, the atmosphere changes, and you could get so many more channels in UHF. You could get it from 2 or 3 states over, I would love it. I would sit there in my room, and I would go through each, dial in there and messing with the antenna to see if I could get some news stations. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Dude, isn't it funny how you could watch a movie full of snow? It was just full of snow. You could barely see the picture, but you would sit there and watch it for hours.
Yeah,
it's just a crappy snowy picture. Do you remember when cable came out and you had your dial TV, but you could only get 13 channels on that dial?
You put it in between 2 channels.
And you remember the
and turn the
scrambled.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Did you ever try to descramble the HBO or whatever you could?
Oh yeah,
the cable box.
Me too. This was before a cable box. I had I had cable in my room, 13-inch TV, but you could go to a scrambled channel. Don't you remember that?
No, see, we didn't have cable. We didn't have cable till 90s, so I missed out on all that.
Well, I'll tell you a horror story I had. Okay. So I figured out how to move the little wiggly line, the scrambler, where it's scrambled. You could move that line to try to get a clear, shot of a nudie picture or whatever, a nudie scene or whatever you could to get to try to de-scramble it. So I had this big powerful magnet.
Oh no.
And I put it on top of my TV, and I was like, I thought I was a genius. I could move that scrambled channel, and I could kind of get a peek at what was going on late at night, right? Magnets and picture tubes don't mix.
Yeah, you have to get a degausser to get rid of that.
Oh my God. I was devastated. I had this rainbow colored magnetic mark on the top of my TV from that magnet permanently embedded in the picture tube. And
you could have fixed it. There's a tool at Radio Shack.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's called a degausser, and you would plug it in, and then you would move it across the screen, and it would demagnetize the tube.
Oh my gosh! Wow. I suffered years with that TV, with that rainbow, freaking whatever, what do you call it? I mean, it looked like it was like on the top of my TV, and it hung down in an oval circle.
That's what she said.
Yeah, not half the screen, but it was like the top half. But it was just enough that just irritated. Every time you saw it, every time you turned the TV on, you remembered how stupid you were for putting a magnet on there. And I tried to get my dad. I said, Dad, something happened to my TV, and I got this color. It won't come out. And I finally had to tell him I put a magnet up there. Magnet? You can't have a magnet by the TV too. But he didn't know what I was doing with the magnet. I just said I set it up on top of it or whatever.
But they sold them at Radio Shack, and it was because back in the day, everybody had like hi-fis with those big tower speakers.
Yeah,
and they'd have them close to their TV, and their TV screen would get magnetized. So Radio Shack started selling a degausser so you could fix that.
My gosh, that is awesome. And
was this a color TV or was it black and white?
This was color. This was color, yeah. That's why it was a rainbow colored. It was like a mixture of all these colors.
Well, we didn't have a color TV until, maybe the 80s.
Wow. Well, I don't know. I mean, we started off with black and white, but I don't remember not having a color TV, though, out in the living room. I had a black and white when I first got my TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. And
I liked it. There was something cool about watching TV in black and white.
It was, man. I still love, one of my favorite shows is The Twilight Zone. It's in black and white. It doesn't bother me at all. I love The Twilight Zone.
You're used to it.
Yeah, but, it's just, I don't know. You just...
I remember, though, when I was really little, and there was a lot of black and white TV shows on TV back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I could never understand why some shows would be in color and some when I was little, and some shows are in black and white. And I remember I asking my mom, I was like, "Is there certain parts of the world like where that's what it looks like?" And then she thought I was an idiot. Because I couldn't understand why some shows were in black and white.
Yeah, that's a good, valid question, though.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, most of my dad's slides were black and white.
Yeah.
All up until a certain point, I'm thinking, was there no color back then?
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I don't even remember when color came in. Was it late 50s? Or...
for TV, I don't remember when, but...
I don't either.
Color film was in the 40s.
Yeah.
Okay. But Wizard of Oz, that was shot in color, right?
That was the first color movie, right?
Yeah, that's right. Mm. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, going back to the TVs and UHF and trying to tune and stuff, I was the master of making homemade antennas.
Oh gosh,
I would take all the because back then I would take all of my metal hangers and I would untwist them and try to connect them all together and make like these huge antennas all over my room to try to get better reception.
Oh yeah, that little antenna that you would move around. What was that thing? Was it UHF? Maybe it was a UHF.
The hoop was the UHF. The rabbit ears were for VHF.
Yeah. I remember getting a long spool of that wire or whatever, and I would just, try to run it up the side of my room and, around to the ceiling, whatever. It was a constant battle, wasn't it? Trying to get a channel to come in.
Yeah, it was fun, though.
I
loved it.
It was fun.
So far, the only thing that I can think of that we have not touched on yet is a CB radio or a walkie-talkie.
Another thing, well, my dad and my grandpa were big CB radio guys.
Yeah, so was my grandma.
But the other thing you guys didn't talk about, which, was a huge technology breakthrough in the 70s, was the microwave oven, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, but that's not media.
Well, no, but
but it is
but it's technology, though. It's technology.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, it changed society.
Right.
It changed. It changed everything.
Right. But it wasn't entertainment related.
Well, not really.
unless you put a little squirrel in there or something.
The CB was so cool though because everybody had those big, huge honking antennas on top of their cars.
Well, another thing is, my grandfather, like I said, he was a big CB'er. Of course, he CB'd in the car, but he had like a station in his garage, and he had these huge antennas in his backyard.
Oh yeah,
that the FCC would show up and try to find him and make him take the antennas down because when he would transmit, he would cut everybody's TV out.
Oh wow, wow. Well, did you guys ever get one of those radios at Radio Shack where you could actually talk to people in the trucks? I would do that at night.
Yeah,
I would breaker or 149.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to do it too.
That was awesome, man. Yeah. Portable CB players, I guess.
For a couple years,
CB radios.
and it was really big. And I remember my dad got me this handheld CB radio.
Yeah.
And I used to, my mom would send me upstairs to get, to take my bath for school the next day. And then when I would get out of there, they wouldn't let me come back downstairs. I had to be upstairs and go to bed or whatever. So I would sit in my bed and I would talk to this one trucker. He was a local trucker. His handle was the Mustard Man. I'd be like, hey, I'd be like, hey, Mustard Man, you got your ears on? And he would talk to me. This guy like almost every night, the Mustard Man. Yeah,
that's funny. Oh, dude, that's hilarious.
I used to talk to.
He was probably a pedophile.
Man,
yeah, probably. I was always on there going, is there any hot chicks out there? Break 'em. Is there any hot chicks out there? Any hot chicks want to talk right now? I mean, you do stuff like that when you're kids. But yeah, I'd be under my covers trying to talk to somebody, when I'm supposed to be in bed. But yeah, those CB radios were awesome.
Did anybody have a police scanner?
I never got one.
My dad had, he would get a new police scanner like every year from Radio Shack, I think. And
I loved them.
And he had it, he had like a lazy boy. That was like his command center. And he'd have the scanner on the table right next to the lazy boy.
Yeah.
And we'd all be trying to watch TV at night, and he'd have the scanner would come on, some kind of police thing, and he'd be like. He'd turn the TV down so he could listen to the TV, and it's pissing everybody off because we're trying to watch a movie and he's listening to the stupid police scanner.
Yep.
It sounds just like my grandma. She used to do the same thing. She used to talk to truckers like all the time.
That's hilarious.
Oh
wow.
Yeah, I never understood the fascination with the scanner. I just never understood it.
I always put it on to this day. I mean, if I hear sirens, gotta get the scanner. I'm always wanting to know what's going on. But I got that when I was working security. We always had the scanner on, but I still have to turn that on all the time. But now you can get apps with it on there. It's weird.
Like a quesadilla? Or...
No, I mean, phone apps with police scanners in there. You could listen to anywhere in the world. I mean,
wow.
I don't know about the world, but I mean, United States. I mean, you can call up any city. It's crazy, dude.
I don't have that kind of time.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, it's amazing.
My dad always had a weather radio too.
Oh, the weather radio. That drove me nuts. God. We did have a weather radio. That thing did go on.
This is a storm warning from the weather service. You know,
and it'll repeat all the time. How many times are you going to listen to the same damn thing?
Pressure is 29.94.
Yeah.
The winds are at 17 knots.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, my dad would listen to it. Like when there was a storm coming, he'd like turn all the lights down and then turn the weather radio on.
Yeah.
You know, like he's getting ready for the storm.
Yeah. He's got his flashlights out too.
Yeah. He's like, how do you get the candles and the flashlights out? There's a storm coming.
Get the candles.
Oh yeah, I remember a couple times. You know, we were in the basement. You know, and I would always try to sneak out and see. You know, because it was dark and you couldn't really see much, and you had to wait for the lightning, and it was either really windy or not, and I remember those days.
Yeah.
The winds are at 17 knots.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like,
my dad would listen to it. Like when there was a storm coming, he'd like turn all the lights down and then turn the weather radio on.
Yeah.
You know, like he's getting ready for the storm.
Yeah.
He's got his flashlights out too.
Yeah. He's like, how do you get the candles and the flashlights out? There's a storm coming.
Get the candles.
Oh yeah, I remember a couple times. You know, we were in the basement. You know, and I would always try to sneak out and see. You know, because it was dark and you couldn't really see much, and you had to wait for the lightning, and it was either really windy or not. And
quick story, confession. But there was we had HBO. If you peeked out my bedroom, you could see the TV from my bedroom, right? So there was times where, you know, he'd always watch a horror movie or a radar movie or whatever late at night, you know, whatever, and I'd try to peek out. But the corner, you know, doing it from the door is too risky. So you know what my idea was?
Go out the window?
No, but you go into my closet at the time.
Okay.
And you know, I climbed up to the very shelf. You know, the shelf where you stored, you know, whatever, your blankets or whatever.
Yeah.
And for some reason that shelf could hold me. And I got the idea, I'm going to drill a hole through the wall.
Oh no.
Into my mom's closet. It was a hallway closet, right? I was going to drill a hole, and I kept, you know, it was like I was in prison trying to drill through the wall with I don't know what tool I had, to try to make it through the other side of the closet where my mom's closet was. And then at night I would try to crack her closet so I could get a
clear view?
Clear view
Dude,
through the hole.
Hardcore.
I mean, that was hardcore, dude. I would try everything I could to sneak and watch some kind of horror movie, because I'd always hear him watching a horror movie, and I hear screams and all this stuff happening, and I'm
that
like,
explains everything.
Oh yeah, I want to do. I'm probably going to do a podcast on all the why I like horror so much. But yeah, well, you remember? I mean, he would dress up in masks and scare everybody at the you know, if I had a birthday party or whatever. I mean, he was classic at scaring people. But yeah, that's so if he hears this and he goes up and looks and sees that hole, he'll know why that hole was there.
Yeah, whenever my parents would send us to bed because they wanted to watch some kind of nudie movie on HBO.
Yeah,
I would always try to find reasons I have to use the bathroom, so I would
get a peek.
And no matter how quiet I was, they were like, "What are you doing? Get back to bed." I'm like, I have to use the bathroom. Yeah. And then 10 minutes later, I'm trying to go out. I'm like, I'm thirsty. I need a glass of water.
Yeah.
Yes. Dude, one of my friends told me that he spent the night at his friend's house, and he wandered into the bathroom looking for something to drink, and there was a jar there, and he struck
of KY.
No, it was just, it had water in it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So he's drinking this glass, and all of a sudden something hits him on the lips.
What?
And then it dawns on him. It was
a goldfish.
No, it was the guy's dentures.
Oh.
the glass.
I'd puke. I would puke. Oh my gosh, that's.
What if he just swallowed them and then he had to poop them out?
Oh my gosh.
Well,
That's horrible.
they just hit his lips, you know.
Ooh, jeez.
Ugh.
It's like an effervescent usually, right? Like
Yeah.
a salt tablet or something. He didn't
might
notice
have-
that.
Something like that.
Both my grandparents, when I spent the night there, they both had false teeth. So yeah, I would always get grossed out when I saw them in a cup sitting around or whatever. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, my dad had false teeth
Did he? Yeah. So
at a
yeah.
very early age because he was always going to the dentist having to get a filling and a filling and a filling. And then I remember I was really young. My dad comes home from work early one day. My mom's like, "What are you doing home?" He goes, "My mouth." He was like muffled. He's like,
Yeah.
"My mouth hurt me so bad. I went to the dentist." I said, "I just had him pull all my teeth out."
Oh my gosh.
He had all his teeth pulled out.
Nuh-uh.
And then got fitted for dentures. My
Oh
dad had
my
dentures
gosh.
like at age 28. Yeah, he just had all his teeth ripped out.
Guys, I gotta go.
Yeah, Mike, you were supposed to be off like
I know.
an hour
to
ago
go.
or so.
I know, but it was Lego's story about Nikki. I about pissed my pants. That was so funny.
I know. You
Oh
can't,
my
you don't want to
gosh.
miss these stories. I mean, you know.
Hey, you remember 80s? My dad, okay, we used to always cook popcorn on the stove, okay?
Yep.
And then one night, he buys this air popper and thinks it's the greatest thing, and it
I still
sucks.
think it's the greatest
I
thing.
hate it. I hate it.
I use mine
I do
every
not
weekend.
Like it. I do not like it.
I still got one.
Yeah, and they'd be like, "It tastes just like movie popcorn." I'm like, "No, it doesn't."
No way.
Well, wait, dude, you got to add butter after it.
Well, what's the point? Why don't you just use microwave then?
Oh, I hate microwave popcorn.
I have an on the stove popper where you turn the handle, and I buy
yeah.
the pack. I buy the
I have it
packets
too.
that have the corn and the oil and the butter flavor, and it does taste just like movie theater popcorn.
We melt just real 100% butter, and I mean it's great.
Yeah, you can do that, but if you put enough oil in, like coconut oil, it does the same. Almost does the same thing.
Might get too soggy, doesn't it?
No,
It gets
it's
soggy
not
with butter.
I
'Cause
know.
the butter's like water.
Well, the
so
butter.
it doesn't,
I mean,
doesn't really matter.
It's like my hands after eating that popcorn. Yeah, they're greasy.
Oh yeah,
They're greasy.
but it is good.
But I gotta have popcorn when I watch a movie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's just a staple now. But then I gotta have a piece of chocolate after it because after having such salty stuff, I gotta have something sweet to counteract it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
I ate a whole package of Mounds today at work. Those, because they're putting all the Halloween candy out. So the ones that you
yeah.
get. It was like a 12-pack. I ate them all for lunch.
Hey guys, do you like Star Wars, Funko, Marvel Legends, McFarlane Toys, Legos? Then I got a special coupon code to save 10% over at Entertainment Earth. Use my special coupon code CRAZETV with a K, KRAZETV to get 10% off at entertainmentearth.com. entertainmentearth.com with coupon code CRAZETV with a K to save 10%. Thanks for listening to Retro Media Talk. If you want to subscribe to our podcast, please go to either Spotify, Anchor FM, Red Circle, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and
Tinder.
some other ones. Yeah. yeah. And YouTube at Craze TV with a K. I know a lot of people don't listen to the podcast on there because I got no views. But if you like to go to YouTube, go to Craze TV and find it there. Or Google Retro Media Talk. Go to the website, retromediatalk.com. Find all the links there. So anyway, thanks for listening, guys. We'll be back next week with another one. Adios.